what gets measured can get managed. Tracking food is not the destination, but it's a necessary starting point so you can get the awareness. When you have high protein, I like to round off to 1 gram per pound of body weight because it's hard to go wrong when you hit that number. Ripple effect, they make better decisions. Thermic effect as well, blunts their appetite.
When it comes to like tracking different metrics, are you having them track their caloric intake via an app, or what do you try and condition their habits around from like a tracking and reliability standpoint?
So the first port of call is tracking for the majority of people. I would say 80 to 90% of people. Straight away, get them tracking food. What gets measured can get managed. Now, I say straight off the bat to people, tracking food is not the destination, but it's a necessary starting point so you can get the awareness. And like you say, I can hold you accountable and we can fine tune what we're doing. And not to mention, even just by tracking, right? I can count a few people. I've just had them track and do nothing else. And because they've got that awareness, they eat, 20 to 30% less. So that's the first port of call. Then it's, the fundamentals. I would say probably half the people that I take on are already having enough protein. Let's just round that off to 1 gram per pound of body weight. The other half who are not, obviously want to look at that first as the first, lever that they can pull. Because, when you have high protein or you have, I like to round it off to 1 gram per pound of body weight because it's hard to go wrong when you hit that number in a lot of areas. They hit that, it blunts their appetite, the ripple effect, they make better decisions, the thermic effect as well. And then naturally, when you try to get them to get that protein through whole meat and real foods, then they start naturally having more minerals and all those kind of things, which again, it's kind of like a ripple effect. So that's kind of the first thing. And then what I tend to do is I get them to track for the first week. Once I've seen even a couple of days, I can then set the target, whatever that is, calories, macros, protein, whatever. But after a week, I like to see a week generally of tracking where I like to do that to kind of figure out their maintenance calories a bit more after a week, sometimes 2 weeks. And then I'll set them, the calories and macros. Now, that, as you know yourself, that's the surface level stuff. Then it's like, okay, let's have a look at the behaviors. So then it's, it could be someone that comes to me, for example. I've had a lot of people come to me through carnivore, right? And they're already eating carnivore, but they've either A, stopped seeing results and plateaued with their physique. B, even their blood markers sometimes don't look good. Some of the blood markers have gone downhill. Or C, they've actually started gaining weight, right? So they haven't got the awareness and they're actually overeating calories because you and I know that we can take everything out of the equation. If you're overeating, if you're consuming more energy, right, then you're burning, you're going to gain weight. And again, they haven't got the awareness, a lot of those people, because they simply may not have tracked. They may not have tracked food before. They might have gone to carnivore and got some good success, by the way. A lot of people have had some good success, and not to talk down on any diet, but then inevitably at some point, a lot of them do plateau. So then it's like, okay, you track and now you're aware how much energy, how many calories are in fat, for example, right? So fat is like 9 calories per gram. So it's like over twice as much as what you get in protein and carbs in terms of 4 calories in those things, give or take. So yeah, that's kind of what nutrition in a nutshell. Then it's fine tuning the fats and carbs, because all in all, fats and carbs don't make a great deal of difference really to body composition when protein and calories are equated for. All in all, there's a bit of nuance there when we look at the big rocks. But then when we look at in terms of fats and carbs, then it comes down to what we were saying, the nuance, like the personal preference. Then you got to fine tune that to see how people get on. And I think a big one, which is overlooked, which we've touched on, is like adherence. We can say keto, we can say carnivore, we can say low carb, we can say high carb, right? Which diet's best? Well, unless you can adhere to a certain way of eating to a point where you're feeling good, you're tracking your bloods or whatever, but you're able to get results that way, right? And not be on or off. The adherence piece is so important. I think it gets overlooked. So nutrition, we could keep going down that rabbit hole. Then it's looking at what are the biggest levers we can pull. So I always look at where are they at? I always meet my clients where they're at. And that's what a good coach will always do. They never go into just prescribe them some random, cookie cutter thing. They're going to meet them exactly where they're at. And what's the 1 or 2 big levers we can pull? For example, let's have a look at your sleep. Oh, you're getting under 7 hours sleep. What can we do to improve that? Let's maybe improve sleep hygiene. Let's figure out a way to improve the sleep. Oh, you're not moving much. You're doing 4,000 steps. let's do an extra 15-minute walk. Let's add, let's just say 2,000 steps. So it's those small incremental changes. And then even on top of that, if you just track food and look at protein, that's enough. Because people need to understand it takes, recent research showed, I think it was 2 to 10 months to permanently change one habit, just one habit. So a lot of people, they don't follow a process for long enough. And going back to your point at the start, which I think is an important point, people look at social media and they look at maybe even their friends who maybe have taken some sort of GLP-1 or something as well, right? Which most people are taking. And they want results yesterday. And it's like, hang on, you have to kind of call people on that at times as well and say, look, you've been living this way for 3 years. Okay, you've been, let's just say most people, right? It's all or nothing, or it's stop start, it's lacking consistency. It's going to take you a long time to start moving things forward in a way where you're noticing really good results and to get changes that you can, permanent changes, not temporary changes like you've done in the past for the last 3 years, permanent change. Would you agree? Right. And when you call them on it, it's like, yeah, you're right, actually. So I think people, they get caught up in that kind of like that space. And sometimes you just got to bring them back to just have a look at the history over the last few years, right? Slow down, even within the first 90 days. If we can get things moving, yes, we see some physical progress, but we can start building a routine, implementing habits that you can stick to. And essentially after that is when you start solidifying things, So yeah, man. And also just a good question to ask people is, when was the last time you were consistent for a whole year? I like to
Yeah.
ask that question to some people and they go, oh, let me just think. Either it's a number of years for a lot of people, or it's never. And it's like, there we
Mhm.
go. So let's be consistent for 4 seasons. You've never done that before. How about we start there? If you haven't done that, really don't talk about transformation unless you've done that, right? People don't want to hear it, but you and I both know, right? It takes years to get a physique transformation that you can keep all year round. Boy,
Mhm.
that doesn't happen fast. That
And
was a big
honestly,
that was
man,
a big rant there, my man. But I'm passionate about
no,
this
no,
stuff
I
like
I
yourself.
like I'm in complete agreement, man. And it's interesting because like I'll do things like I'll set a goal for myself, and I'll basically just have like a zero tolerance for deviation around it. Like you have to do this every single day, come hell or high water, without fail. And it's not even a hard thing. Like it might be getting 10,000 steps, or it might be like here lately I've been doing 100 push-ups and 70 pull-ups pretty much daily. And it's like there are days where I don't need to do that. There are days where it makes sense not to do that, but you could easily justify your way around anything, like setting a parameter, adhering to it without fail, and making a commitment to that from a psychological standpoint gives that individual a massive win that again transcends that physical thing and bleeds into every area of their life. And when it comes to training, nutrition, and lifestyle habits, it's like, okay, if I can hit 10,000 steps every single day, then I can easily hit these macro goals every single day because it's just another step in the right direction. So like anything like that that gets people a win under their belt is paramount. Thank you for watching this episode of The Savage Clip. If you want to see the full blown deep dive, check out the full episode here, and I'll see you there.